This is the power darts position when I'm gonna control him. From right here, this control is really hard to get the posture. You know what I'm saying? He won't get his posture from here, and if I keep utilizing my pressure, really hard for him to move. I'm gonna turn this around, and as I'm pushing his head more in, I'm gonna slide my hand as I'm collecting this darts grip. The grip has to be all the way back to your tricep. You don't want to be shallow with this. You want to go grabbing your tricep, and this hand's coming over. I'm sinking my head down, and I'm squeezing, but not in the terms of strength. I'm more of a closing the space. I'm Angel Tito Cruz, and I'm an MMA fighter coach at 10 Planet Austin. Today I'm going to show you a darts choke and a follow-up Americana from that darts choke. So I'm going to be with my partners. He's going to be in this bag. I'm going to utilize the side control. So if I have him here in this position, side control, this position specifically is called a power darts. The main thing I want to do is I want to make sure this arm is trapped completely from a dart. So if you ever find yourself in this position, this is the power darts position when I'm gonna control him. The thing about this position is, yes, I have the neck, but the important part is to capture the back of the head. That back of the head is very important, because without that, he's gonna get his posture, he's gonna start doing his escapes. I keep him tight. My radial bone here is gonna be specifically right here in this choroid artery to be able to do that blood choke. A blood choke is simply you cut both arteries and you cut the blood flow to the brain. That shuts down the brain completely in about 6 seconds. This shoulder will cut one, and I'm utilizing the pressure on my body to block that artery, and the choroid artery will be, the other choroid artery will be blocked by my my radial bone right here. So we have this cross effect for his choke. So as I'm sinking down, I'm bringing everything in, and my head and everything is collected and it's over him while I'm sinking and deeply having that choke. From right here, this control is really hard to get the posture. You know what I'm saying? He won't get his posture from here, and if I keep utilizing my pressure, really hard for him to move. What I'm gonna do from this position, I'm gonna turn this around, and as I'm pushing his head more in, I'm gonna slide my hand as I'm collecting this darts grip. The grip has to be all the way back to your tricep. You don't want to be shallow with this. You want to go grabbing your tricep, and this hand's coming over. I'm sinking my head down, and I'm squeezing, but not in the terms of strength. I'm more of a closing the space. When you think about jiu-jitsu chokes, you want to close the space. So in reality, all I'm doing is this. In, and collapsing myself, collapsing my body into that choke. So I'm here trapping him, turning him, driving that, collecting and trapping my head down, and from here I'm closing the space, and I get my tap right there. So all I'm doing is closing space, everything down, and you should get that tap. Okay, one more time. Remember, this one comes out, blocking that artery, collecting in my power darts position. As I'm turning that, I'm shoving that in, and you don't want to go too deep. If you go too deep, you won't be able to block that artery. So you want to make sure you have that artery blocked by my radial bone. As I'm dropping, and then from here, I'm just everything inside, closing the space slowly. Okay? Now a lot of the times with that scenario, what happens sometimes, it's really hard to get that one. So my follow-up move from that failed darts is, as he goes back, I'm collecting the arm right here, and you have to be tight with this one, because if you try to spin it out from here, he's just gonna simply pummel that arm out and he's gonna escape. I want to make sure I'm still collecting that arm, and I'm still tight with him right here as I'm going around, like I'm going for like a topside kimura, which is also available to you, that topside kimura. But for this Americana specifically, as I'm stepping, he might turn with me, so I have to make sure I block that hip right here with my other hand as I'm stepping over here, and I'm simply sitting down as I get my arm lock from right here, from that darts. Okay, boom. One more time. As I feel like I don't have the darts anymore, he's escaping, I'm transferring my hand to that block. As I'm stepping over, notice how I have this arm trapped with my body. So I'm not super far that he could escape. I'm actually really tight with him and closing that space here as I'm blocking the other hip. When you apply it to your partner, please do it slow and control. so you don't break your partner's arm right there, okay? And that darce, and then a fail Americana darce.